It's day 6 at COP, and I'm here with Regina, and we are feeling buoyant this morning, I would say, because we are celebrating that yesterday was a really special day at the COP. It was a day focused on women and the role of women in climate solutions. The highlight of the day for us was a 2-hour panel presentation led by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. She moderated 2 panels, or she moderated a panel and was on a panel that were entirely made up of women climate leaders. It was so inspiring.
And it was very well attended, standing room only. It's probably been the largest audience that I've seen at a session during this COP.
Yeah, I think that's right. And Secretary Clinton was so clear and plain-spoken the way she always is about the challenges facing women and the reality that women are more impacted. They are the most impacted, the first and the worst around the world by climate change, but they are also disproportionately able to offer real solutions. But the thing that was so exciting for us, I think, was that it wasn't just Secretary Clinton, it was that every woman on these panels was just as impressive. They were leaders in their fields. There were women from government, from the United States and outside the rest of the world. There were women from business, women from the NGO sector, and they all were just absolutely top of form in the way that they were able to talk about the challenges and opportunities for women in their respective fields.
I think that's right. As you said, that women are household managers. They are the largest number of farmers around the world are women. Expecting that we are going to meet our goals in the climate space without not just bringing women along, but accompanying women in their roles in their local context is just untenable.
I think one of the things that was the most interesting to me, so there were old women, young women, women from all different contexts. One of the most interesting things to me was the woman from the Global South, from Chad, Hindu Ibrahim, who's a frequent participant in the COP and a bright light. It lights up every room she comes into, but she was telling a story about being in a government conversation and that men were talking, cussing and discussing this issue for hours. And at the end of the day, she finally said, "Would you like to just ask a woman how to solve this problem?" And that it was solved quickly and clearly. And those kinds of conversations have to be happening in countries all over the world, especially around this sort of disproportionate role of women in agriculture, food, and other kind of family-related fields for us to be able to move forward.
I appreciated that story. One of the stories that struck me was one of the panelists from business in Australia was talking about how, yes, some of the concerns that women face will need to be addressed structurally. It will need to be addressed at national and subnational levels and will take a lot of input to bring about. But some of the concerns that women face are really quite at human scale. She told a story about a new green warehouse that was looking for a warehouse manager, and the job was described as a warehouseman, and they could not find any qualified applicants. 2 changes were made to the job description. One, they made it a warehouse manager, gender neutral, and then rather than the requirement that the applicant have a forklift license, they changed it to, "We will train you on forklift." Suddenly, 10 qualified women applied for the role, and a woman ultimately got the role and is there thriving. Those are the kinds of stories that we need to tell each other and remind one another, because it may not be hiring for a warehouse job, but we all have those small incremental steps over which we have power and authority that we can continue to keep that gender lens on as we work in whatever our local contexts are.
That's exactly right. And one of the things that was, I think we're proud that our lead negotiator from the State Department to the COP is a woman, Sue Biniaz, and our second lead negotiator, the one that we work with the most on loss and damage, also a woman, Christina Chan. Christina opened the whole program yesterday talking about talking about the Biden administration's particular focus on empowering women, which has been truly impressive, but also talking about, as Regina says, there are small things that can happen, but we got to keep them out front all the time. And so Christina talked about how her mother, born in China, came to the United States in her early 20s, raised her family. A really impressive life story. Her name in Chinese means begs for little brother. And Christina said that is a constant reminder to her that women have to make their power and take their power, because it's not going to be just given to us. There's a lens that we're still fighting of, you got to have a man at the end of the day. And
I really do hate to be this person, because it was a great day. It was a great panel. It just needs to be said that of all of those accomplished, well-spoken, fiery women who were on the panel, the final speaker was Secretary John Kerry, and he did a fine job. I'm not suggesting that he is ineffective as a speaker or as a secretary. What I wonder about is the whole day was based on saying, trust women, listen to women. And in that final moment, we still had to have that co-signed by a man.
I think the question that we have to ask and we have to interrogate and get clarity on is, was he there to endorse and put a stamp of approval on the work of all those girls? Or was he there to appreciate that women actually did this? And I think that's an open question that we as Americans especially, we need to be sure that we're getting that across.
Okay.